What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists, and welcome to this, the first in my new solo role-playing playlist series, whatever you want to call it. And in this first episode, I'm just going to go over... Now, before you say it, you've read the title. Yeah, I know there are other videos out there which have done this, and in exactly the same way. Detailing the tools needed for solo role-playing. But I just wanted to document what tools I consider as, things that you need for solo role playing. So obviously the dice tray, which I'm rather proud of, by the way, this dice tray I made. This is just for aesthetics. So I'm just going to run through some of the things that I think you need in your toolbox for role playing solo, going it alone, as it were. Right. So, and I'm going to assume that, pen, paper, pencil, whatever, you need that anyway, right? You're going to need that for a role-playing game pretty much as a given. There are certain circumstances, where you don't need it so much, but it's always nice to have that pen and paper option. So you've got that anyway. Most people, I find, have those items in their homes. Okay, now, so the first thing you really need, in my opinion, to play a solo role-playing game is obviously the game itself, or the system that you want to play. And again, I know this has been done by other people, but I'll just run through a couple of the ones that are my favourites. Okay, so first up we have a D&D 5th edition. That is my go-to fantasy role-playing game. I've played many other different types of fantasy role-playing game, but I'm talking about the ones I play now. And so I know that solo role-playing works well for a few different genres, and I've tried them out now, and I've actually played through and discovered, to my surprise and joy, that it works rather well. So obviously D&D is one of my favourite fantasy role-playing systems out there. Okay, the World of Darkness is another favourite of mine. I love the World of Darkness games. Primarily werewolf and vampire, the two I use mostly, and this is kind of like a rule book for the whole system, not just vampire and werewolf, but using this to represent my World of Darkness RPG, which I have. Very good. I don't know if it's still in production or whatever, but it's definitely an RPG I come back to time and time again. All right, another of my favorite RPG systems is Call of Cthulhu. I absolutely adore the game system for this, the way the skills work. It's kind of the way, if you'd have tweaked World of Darkness, you would have come up with this system. Absolutely brilliant, phenomenal. And I love the gothic horror, or the modern day horror, the Lovecraftian-esque nature of this, which is at the heart and soul of this game. Absolutely brilliantly atmospheric. So I picked this one up a couple of years ago to try out as a game, and I absolutely loved it. My group loved it. We all sort of gave it a massive thumbs up all round. It's quite easy to pick up, and there are even a couple of solo modules that you can get for this game that they produce for it now. So they're obviously looking at solo stuff. I can't say the way they do the choose your own modules, choose your own kind of bit like choose your own adventure, those fighting fantasy books that used to be around. I find that very limiting, but there you are, each to his own, and at least they're recognizing the need for solo play. Last on my list is Alien the RPG by Free League Publishing. What can I say about this game? Oh my goodness. Brilliant. So brilliant. Such a brilliant game. So atmospheric. It's just, It's incredible. I love it. I just love it. The artwork, the way it's laid out, it's nice and simple, easy to find, referencing everything I want from an RPG, plus the setting, Alien, and it works. It feels like Alien when you're playing it. And but yeah, so those are a few of my favorite game systems. So what you need is the game system, obviously. The next thing that you really need or could do with when you're playing solo games is random tables. And these are 4 books, different books of random tables by a guy called Matt Davids. They're like D100 tables for loads of things, like items in an office, items in a fantasy desk, you know, what you find on a dead goblin, encounters, you know, everything you'd need for fantasy. And I've got more of these fantasy ones. They're all, and you can get them for different genres as well, which I will be looking at. I mean, whether you get books or you can get like decks of cards, you can get app generators. Check out Chartopia if you want to have a look at many different tables. The next thing you need is an oracle of some description. Now, to begin with, I used the oracle in the game Scarlet Heroes, which is a standalone game. In the back, there is a basic oracle and an oracle is just a way of generating yes, no's on probabilities. And they got a simple one here, which I used for D&D a few times, and it works quite well. And there are other tables like weather tables, how people interact with you, so on and so forth. But by far the best oracle I've ever come across is this, the Mythic Game Master Emulator. I've read it from cover to cover, apart from a couple of typos. Mr. Who is it? Mr. Tom Pigeon. I'm terrible for finding typos. Apart from that, absolutely phenomenal. And I've, you know, it's got the fate chart in here, okay, which you use. If I can just find the fate chart, there's one at the back as well, actually. Fate chart. Look at the possibilities you've got there. You've got from impossible to has to be and all the in-betweens, and you've got 50-50 as well. And you've also got event tables, which make things a little interesting. Come back to this as a focal point. Right. So, yeah, so far you need your game system, you got that, you got your tables, and your oracle, the mechanic that can answer yes or no to those burning questions that a GM would normally answer. Okay, the next thing I think is a must for playing solo RPGs is space, somewhere to do it. I am lucky I've got my gaming studio here. Time and peace, as in peace and quiet. You need the time to devote to it. It's not the sort of thing you can do whilst getting ready to make tea or dinner or whatever. You need to dedicate a good hour or two to doing it. All right. You see, and you need it to be in a peaceful environment, which is fairly quiet. I would say not with a TV on in the background or music blaring, unless it was something in the back, very subtle in the background to kind of boost the atmosphere or create tension for you. The next thing on my list is going back to the pen and paper. You need to document it. All right. You need to document your game, whether you do it how they suggest in Mythic, which is you basically write out your scenes and the list of characters you get to know, and the threads of your story. It's quite important because you can go back to it and you can pick up your game at any time you wish. The next thing I think is a must, tools in your toolbox for playing solo RPG, is inspiration, of course. This is important. It keeps momentum and keeps your enthusiasm alive. So watch movies or other YouTubers who are doing the same thing, going on the same journey as yourself, and you will find that inspiration. And just as a tip, whilst you're solo role playing, something which I've not heard anybody speak about that, but I'm sure people have, but I just haven't come across it yet. When you play your solo RPG, play it aloud. Pretend or act like you're filming it so that you find this will add another layer to it, the whole thing. Speak the scene out loud. So like, right, I'm at the edge of the swamps or the marshlands where the monster I'm tracking has gone. You know, it's just you don't have to say it in a funny voice or anything. You just need to say it out loud. Right. So what's he going to do? Are there any other creatures or anything nearby? Say it out loud. Then ask your question out loud. Then you can consult your oracle and any other table you need, and it adds another layer to your game. So that is my mini Warzone tools for solo role playing, and that's all. Thank you ever so much for watching. Before I do close out, one other thing you may want to use are tokens. For this I use the tokens I sort of use in most RPG games or anything else, which is poker chips. My most common go-to token. They're not a must, but you know, it's always helpful. Put tokens on your NPCs or whatever, or if you've got a spell or a curse on you or a condition, just note it down there. I'm toying with the idea of doing some artwork on some of these, and yeah, so I've got red ones, green ones, blue ones, yellow ones. You know, I've got all colours, so they could all mean something different, perhaps. So, yeah, that's it really. So thanks very much for watching. Okay, remember all brushes lead to war, and I will see you on the next video. Stay safe, be well, be kind, my friends. Bye for now. Bye bye.